Jubilees 21. Abraham's last words to Isaac regarding idolatry, the eating of blood, the offering of various sacrifices, and the use of salt. 1 to 11. Also regarding the woods to be used in sacrifice and the duty of washing before sacrifice, and of covering blood, etc. 12:25. 21. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Abraham called Isaac his son, and 20:50 a.m. commanded him, saying, I am become old, and know not the day of my death, and am full of my days. And behold, I am 175 years old, and throughout all the days of my life I have remembered the Lord, and sought with all my heart to do his will, and to walk uprightly in all his ways. My soul has hated idols, that I might observe to do the will of him who created me. For he is the living God, and he is holy and faithful, and he is righteous beyond all. And there is with him no accepting of men's persons, and no accepting of gifts. For God is righteous, and executed judgment on all who transgress his commandments and despise his covenant. And do thou, my son, observe his commandments and his ordinances and his judgments, and walk not after the abominations, and after the graven images, and after the molten images. And eat no blood at all of animals or cattle, or of any bird which flies in the heaven. And if thou dost slay a victim as an acceptable peace offering, slay ye it, and pour out its blood upon the altar. And all the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour, and the meat offering, mingled with oil, with its drink offering. Offer them all together on the altar of burnt offering. It is a sweet savour before the Lord. And thou wilt offer the fat of the sacrifice of thank offerings on the fire which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and all the fat on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them, and upon the loins and liver thou shalt remove, together with the kidneys. And offer all these for a sweet savour acceptable before the Lord, with its meat offering, and with its drink offering for a sweet savour, the bread of the offering unto the Lord. And eat its meat on that day and on the 2nd day, and let not the sun on the 2nd day go down upon it till it is eaten. And let nothing be left over for the 3rd day, for it is not acceptable, for it is not approved. And let it no longer be eaten, and all who eat thereof will bring sin upon themselves. For thus I have found it written in the books of my forefathers, and in the words of Enoch, and in the words of Noah. And on all thy oblations thou shalt strew salt. And let not the salt of the covenant be lacking in all thy oblations before the Lord. And as regards the wood of the sacrifices, beware lest thou bring other wood for the altar, in addition to these: cypress, bay, almond, fir, pine, cedar, 7, fig, olive, myrrh, laurel, aspalathus. And of these kinds of wood lay upon the altar under the sacrifice, such as have been tested as to their appearance. And do not lay thereon any split or dark wood, but hard and clean, without fault, a sound and new growth. And do not lay thereon old wood, for its fragrance is gone. For there is no longer fragrance in it as before. Besides these kinds of wood, there is none other than thou shalt place on the altar, for the fragrance is dispersed, and the smell of its fragrance goes not up to heaven. Observe this commandment and do it, my son, that thou mayest be upright in all thy deeds, and at all times be clean in thy body, and wash thyself with water before thou approachest to offer on the altar, and wash thy hands and thy feet before thou drawest near to the altar. And when thou art done sacrificing, wash again thy hands and thy feet. And let no blood appear upon you, nor upon your clothes. Be on thy guard, my son, against blood. Be on thy guard exceedingly. Cover it with dust. And do not eat any blood, for it is the soul. Eat no blood whatever. And take no gifts for the blood of man, lest it be shed with impunity, without judgment. For it is the blood that is shed that causes the earth to sin. And the earth cannot be cleansed from the blood of man, save by the blood of him who shed it. And take no present or gift for the blood of man, blood for blood, that thou mayest be accepted before the Lord, the Most High God. For he is the defense of the good, and that thou mayest be preserved from all evil, and that he may save thee from every kind of death. I see, my son, that all the works of the children of men are sin and wickedness, and all their deeds are uncleanness and an abomination and a pollution, and there is no righteousness with them. Beware lest thou shouldest walk in their ways, and tread in their paths, and sin a sin unto death before the Most High God, else he will hide his face from thee, and give thee back into the hands of thy transgression, and root thee out of the land, and thy seed likewise from under heaven, and thy name and thy seed shall perish from the whole earth. Turn away from all their deeds and all their uncleanness, and observe the ordinance of the Most High God, and do his will, and be upright in all things. And he will bless thee in all thy deeds, and will raise up from thee a plant of righteousness through all the earth, throughout all generations of the earth, and my name and thy name shall not be forgotten under heaven forever. Go, my son, in peace. May the Most High God, my God and thy God, strengthen thee to do his will. And may he bless all thy seed and the residue of thy seed for the generations forever, with all righteous blessings, that thou mayest be a blessing on all the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing. Jubilees 22. Isaac, Ishmael, and Jacob celebrate the feast of firstfruits at Beersheba with Abraham. 1-5. Prayer of Abraham. 6-9. Abraham's last words to and blessings of Jacob. 10-30. 22. And it came to pass in the first week in the 44th Jubilee, in the second year, that is the year in which Abraham died, that Isaac and Ishmael came from the well of the oath to celebrate the feast of the weeks. That is the feast of the firstfruits of the harvest to Abraham their father. And Abraham rejoiced because his two sons had come. For Isaac had many possessions in Beersheba, and Isaac was wont to go and see his possessions, and to return to his father. And in those days Ishmael came to see his father, and they both came together, and Isaac offered a sacrifice for a burnt offering, and presented it on the altar of his father, which he made in Hebron. And he offered a thank offering, and made a feast of joy before Ishmael his brother. And Rebekah made new cakes from the new grain, and gave them to Jacob her son, to take them to Abraham his father from the firstfruits of the land, that he might eat and bless the Creator of all things before he died. And Isaac too sent by the hand of Jacob to Abraham a best thank offering, that he might eat and drink. And he ate and drank, and blessed the Most High God, who had created heaven and earth, who had made all the fat things of the earth, and given them to the children of men, that they might eat and drink, and bless their Creator. And now I give thanks unto thee, my God, because thou hast caused me to see this day. Behold, I am 160 years, an old man and full of days, and all my days have been unto me peace. The sword of the adversary has not overcome me in all that thou hast given me, and my children all the days of my life until this day. My God, may thy mercy and thy peace be upon thy servant, and upon the seed of his sons, that they may be to thee a chosen nation, and an inheritance from amongst all the nations of the earth from henceforth unto all the days of the generations of the earth, unto all the ages. And he called Jacob and said, My son Jacob, may the God of all bless thee, and strengthen thee to do righteousness, and his will before him, and may he choose thee, and thy seed, that ye may become a people for his inheritance, according to his will always. And do thou, my son Jacob, draw near and kiss me. And he drew near and kissed him, and he said, Blessed be my son Jacob, and all the sons of God Most High, unto all the ages. May God give unto thee a seed of righteousness, and some of thy sons may he sanctify in the midst of the whole earth. May nations serve thee, and all the nations bow themselves before thy seed. Be strong in the presence of men, and exercise authority over all the seed of Seth. Then thy ways and the ways of thy sons shall be justified, so that they shall become a holy nation. May the Most High God give thee all the blessings wherewith he has blessed me, and wherewith he blessed Noah and Adam. May they rest on the sacred head of thy seed from generation to generation forever. And may he cleanse thee from all unrighteousness and impurity, that thou mayest be forgiven all the transgressions which thou hast committed ignorantly, and may he strengthen thee and bless thee, and mayest thou inherit the whole earth, and may he renew his covenant with thee, that thou mayest be to him a nation for his inheritance for all the ages, and that he may be to thee and to thy seed a God in truth and righteousness throughout all the days of the earth. And do thou, my son Jacob, remember my words and observe the commandments of Abraham thy father. Separate thyself from the nations, and eat not with them, and do not according to their works, and become not their associate. For their works are unclean, and all their ways are pollution, and an abomination and uncleanness. They offer their sacrifices to the dead, and they worship evil spirits, and they eat over the graves, and all their works are vanity and nothingness. They have no heart to understand, and their eyes do not see what their works are, and how they err, saying to a piece of wood, Thou art my God, and to a stone, Thou art my Lord, and thou art my deliverer. And they have no heart. And as for thee, my son Jacob, may the Most High God help thee, and the God of heaven bless thee, and remove thee from their uncleanness, and from all their error. Be thou ware, my son Jacob, of taking a wife from any seed of the daughters of Canaan, for all his seed is to be rooted out of the earth. For owing to the transgression of Ham, Canaan erred, and all his seed shall be destroyed from off the earth, and all the residue thereof, and none springing from him shall be saved on the day of judgment. And as for all the worshippers of idols and the profane, there shall be no hope for them in the land of the living. and there shall be no remembrance of them on the earth, for they shall descend into Sheol, and into the place of condemnation shall they go, as the children of Sodom were taken away from the earth, so will all those who worship idols be taken away. Fear not, my son Jacob, and be not dismayed, O son of Abraham. May the Most High God preserve thee from destruction, and from all the paths of error may he deliver thee. This house have I built for myself, that I might put my name upon it in the earth. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever, and it will be named the house of Abraham. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever. For thou wilt build my house and establish my name before God forever. Thy seed and thy name will stand throughout all generations of the earth. And he ceased commanding him and blessing him. And the two lay together on one bed, and Jacob slept in the bosom of Abraham, his father's father. And he kissed him 7 times, and his affection and his heart rejoiced over him. And he blessed him with all his heart, and said, The Most High God, the God of all and Creator of all, who brought me forth from Ur of the Chaldees, that he might give me this land to inherit it forever, and that I might establish a holy seed. Blessed be the Most High forever. And he blessed Jacob and said, My son, over whom with all my heart and my affection I rejoice, may thy grace and thy mercy be lifted up upon him and upon his seed alway. And do not forsake him, nor set him at naught from henceforth unto the days of eternity. And may thine eyes be opened upon him and upon his seed, that thou mayst preserve him and bless him, and mayst sanctify him as a nation for thine inheritance. And bless him with all thy blessings from henceforth unto all the days of eternity. And renew thy covenant and thy grace with him, and with his seed according to all thy good pleasure, unto all the generations of the earth. 23. Abraham's death and burial, 1-8. Decreasing years and increasing corruption of mankind, messianic woes, universal strife, the faithful rise up in arms to bring back the faithless, Israel invaded by sinners of the Gentiles. 11-25. Renewed study of the law and renewal of mankind, messianic kingdom, blessed immortality of the righteous. 26-31. 23. And he placed 2 fingers of Jacob on his eyes, and he blessed the God of gods. And he covered his face, and stretched out his feet, and slept the sleep of eternity, and was gathered to his fathers. And notwithstanding all this, Jacob was lying in his bosom, and knew not that Abraham, his father's father, was dead. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and behold, Abraham was cold as ice. And he said, Father, Father. But there was none that spake, and he knew that he was dead. And he arose from his bosom, and ran and told Rebekah his mother. And Rebekah went to Isaac in the night, and told him. And they went together, and Jacob with them, and a lamp was in his hand. And when they had gone in, they found Abraham lying dead. And Isaac fell on the face of his father, and wept and kissed him. And the voices were heard in the house of Abraham. And Ishmael his son arose, and went to Abraham his father, and wept over Abraham his father, he and all the house of Abraham. And they wept with a great weeping. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the double cave near Sarah his wife. And they wept for him 40 days, all the men of his house, and Isaac and Ishmael, and all their sons, and all the sons of Keturah, in their places. And the days of weeping for Abraham were ended. And he lived 3 jubilees and 4 weeks of years, and 175 years. and completed the days of his life, being old and full of days. For the days of the forefathers of their life were 19 Jubilees, and after the flood they began to grow less than 19 Jubilees, and to decrease in Jubilees, and to grow old quickly, and to be full of their days by reason of manifold tribulation and the wickedness of their ways, with the exception of Abraham. For Abraham was perfect in all his deeds with the Lord, and well-pleasing in righteousness all the days of his life. And behold, he did not complete 4 Jubilees in his life, when he had grown old by reason of the wickedness, and was full of his days. And all the generations which shall arise from this time until the day of the great judgment shall grow old quickly, before they complete 2 Jubilees, and their knowledge shall forsake them by reason of their old age, and all their knowledge shall vanish away. And in those days, if a man live a jubilee and a half of years, they shall say regarding him, he has lived long, and the greater part of his days are pain and sorrow and tribulation, and there is no peace. For calamity follows on calamity, and wound on wound, and tribulation on tribulation, and evil tidings on evil tidings, and illness on illness, and all evil judgments such as these, one with another, illness and overthrow, and snow and frozen ice, and fever and chills, and torpor and famine, and death and sword and captivity, and all kinds of calamities and pains. And all these shall come on an evil generation, which transgresses on the earth. Their works are uncleanness, and fornication, and pollution, and abominations. Then they shall say, the days of the forefathers were many, even unto 1,000 years, and were good. But behold, the days of our life, if a man has lived many, are 60 years and 10, and if he is strong, 80 years, and those evil. And there is no peace in the days of this evil generation. And in that generation the sons shall convict their fathers and their elders of sin and unrighteousness, and of the words of their mouth, and the great wickedness which they perpetrate, and concerning their forsaking the covenant which the Lord made between them and him, that they should observe and do all his commandments and his ordinances and all his laws, without departing either to the right hand or the left. For all have done evil, and every mouth speaks iniquity, and all their works are uncleanness and an abomination, and all their ways are pollution, and cleanness and destruction. Behold, the earth shall be destroyed on account of all their works, and there shall be no seed of the vine, and no oil, for their works are altogether faithless, and they shall all perish together, beasts and cattle and birds and all the fish of the sea, on account of the children of men. And they shall strive one with another, the young with the old, and the old with the young, the poor with the rich, the lowly with the great, and the beggar with the prince, on account of the law and the covenant, for they have forgotten commandment and covenant, and feast, and months, and Sabbaths, and jubilees, and all judgments. And they shall stand swords and war to turn them back into the way, but they shall not return until much blood has been shed on the earth, one by another. And those who have escaped shall not return from their wickedness to the way of righteousness, but they shall all exalt themselves to deceit and wealth, and they may each take all that is his neighbor's, and they shall name the great name, but not in truth and not in righteousness, and they shall defile the Holy of Holies with their uncleanness, in the corruption of their pollution. And a great punishment shall befall the deeds of this generation from the Lord, and he will give them over to the sword and to judgment and to captivity, and to be plundered and devoured. And he will wake up against them the sinners of the Gentiles, who have neither mercy nor compassion, and who shall respect the person of none, neither old nor young, nor anyone, for they are more wicked and strong to do evil than all the children of men. And they shall use violence against Israel, and transgression against Jacob. And much blood shall be shed upon the earth, and there shall be none to gather and none to bury. In those days they shall cry aloud, and call and pray that they may be saved from the hand of the sinners, the Gentiles, but none shall be saved. And the heads of the children shall be white with grey hair, and a child of 3 weeks shall appear old like a man of 100 years. And their stature shall be destroyed by tribulation and oppression. And in those days the children shall begin to study the laws, and to seek the commandments, and to return the path of righteousness. And the days shall begin to grow many, and increase amongst those children of men till their days draw nigh to 1,000 years, and to a greater number of years than before was the number of the days. And there shall be no old man, nor one who is satisfied with his days, for all shall be as children and youths. And all their days they shall complete, and live in peace and in joy. And there shall be no Satan, nor any evil destroyer, for all their days shall be days of blessing and healing. And at that time the Lord will heal his servants, and they shall rise up and see great peace, and drive out their adversaries. And the righteous shall see and be thankful, and rejoice with joy forever and ever, and shall see all their judgments and all their curses on their enemies. And their bones shall rest in the earth, and their spirit shall have much joy. And they shall know that it is the Lord who executes judgment, and show mercy to hundreds and thousands, and to all that love him. And do thou, Moses, write down these words, for thus are they written, and they record them on the heavenly tablets for a testimony for the generations forever. Jubilees 24. Isaac at the well of vision. Esau sells his birthright. 24. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that the Lord blessed Isaac his son. And he arose from Hebron and went and dwelt at the well of the vision in the first year of the 3rd week, 27:3 a.m. of this Jubilee, 7 years. And in the first year of the 4th week a famine began in the land, 20:80 a.m., besides the first famine which had been in the days of Abraham. And Jacob sowed lentil pottage, and Esau came from the field hungry. And he said to Jacob his brother, Give me of this red pottage. And Jacob said to him, Sell to me thy primogeniture, this birthright, and I will give thee bread, and also some of this lentil pottage. And Esau said in his heart, I shall die, of what profit to me is this birthright? And he said to Jacob, I give it to thee. And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him. And Jacob gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied. And Esau despised his birthright, For this reason was Esau's name called Edom, on account of the red pottage which Jacob gave him for his birthright. And Jacob became the elder, and Esau was brought down from his dignity. And the famine was over the land, and Isaac departed to go down into Egypt in the 2nd year of this week, and went to the king of the Philistines, to Gerar, unto Abimelech. And the Lord appeared unto him, and said unto him, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land that I shall tell thee of, and sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and bless thee. For to thee and to thy seed will I give all this land, and I will establish my oath, which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all this land. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thy father obeyed my voice, and kept my charge and my commandments and my laws, and my ordinances and my covenant, and now obey my voice, and dwell in this land. And he dwelt in Gerar 3 weeks of years. And Abimelech charged concerning him 2080, 21:01 a.m., and concerning all that was his, saying, Any man that shall touch him or aught that is his shall surely die. And Isaac waxed strong among the Philistines, and he got many possessions, oxen and sheep and camels and asses and a great household. And he sold in the land of the Philistines, and brought in 100-fold, and Isaac became exceedingly great, and the Philistines envied him. Now all the wells which the servants of Abraham had dug during the life of Abraham, the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence in the 1st year of the 7th week, and sojourned in the valleys of Gerar. And they digged again the wells of water which the servants of Abraham his father had digged, and which the Philistines had closed after the death of Abraham his father. And he called their names as Abraham his father had named them. And the servants of Isaac dug a well in the valley, and found living water. And the shepherds of Gerar strove with the shepherds of Isaac, saying, The water is ours. And Isaac called the name of the well Perversity, because they had been perverse with us. And they dug a 2nd well, and they strove for that also. And he called its name Enmity. And he arose from thence, and they digged another well, and for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Room. And Isaac said, Now the Lord hath made room for us, how we have increased in the land. And he went up from thence to the well of the oath in the 1st year of the 1st week, in the 21:08 a.m., 44th Jubilee. And the Lord appeared to him that night on the new moon of the 1st month, and said unto him, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee. I shall bless thee, and shall surely multiply thy seed as the sand of the earth, for the sake of Abraham my servant. And he built an altar there, which Abraham his father had first built, and he called upon the name of the Lord, and he offered sacrifice to the God of Abraham his father. And they digged a well, and they found living water. And the servants of Isaac digged another well, and did not find water. And they went and told Isaac, and they had not found water. And Isaac said, I have sworn this day to the Philistines, and this thing has been announced to us. And he called the name of that place the well of the oath, for there had he had sworn to Abimelech and Ahuzath, his friend, and Phicol, the prefect, or his host. And Isaac knew that day that under constraint he had sworn to them to make peace with them. And Isaac on that day cursed the Philistines, and said, Cursed be the Philistines unto the day of wrath and indignation from the midst of all nations. May God make them a derision and a curse, and an object of wrath and indignation in the hands of the sinners and the Gentiles, and in the hands of the Kittim. And whoever escapes the sword of the enemy and the Kittim, may the righteous nation root out in judgment from under heaven. For they shall be the enemies and foes of my children throughout their generations upon the earth, and no remnant shall be left of them, nor one shall be saved on the day of the wrath of judgment. For destruction and rooting out and expulsion from the earth is the whole seed of the Philistines reserved, and there shall no longer be left for these Caphtorim a name or a seed on the earth. For though he ascend unto heaven, then shall he be brought down, and though he make himself strong on earth, then shall he be dragged forth, and though he hide himself amongst the nations, even from thence shall he be rooted out, and do he descend into Sheol, there also shall his condemnation be great, and there also he shall have no peace. And if he go into captivity, by the hands of those that seek his life shall they slay him on the way, and neither name nor seed shall be left to him on all the earth. For into eternal malediction shall he depart. And thus it is written and engraved concerning him on the heavenly tablets, to do unto him on the day of judgment, so that he may be rooted out of the earth. Jubilees 25. Rebekah admonished Jacob not to marry a Canadish woman. 1-3. Jacob promises to marry a daughter of Laban despite the urgent request of Esau they should marry a Canadish woman. 4-10. Rebekah blesses Jacob. 11-23. 25. And in the second year of this week, in this Jubilee, Rebekah called her Jacob her son, and spake unto 21:09 a.m. him, saying, My son, do not take thee a wife of the daughters of Canaan, as Esau thy brother, who took him 2 wives of the daughters of Canaan, and they have embittered my soul with all their unclean deeds, for all their deeds are fornication and lust, and there is no righteousness to them, for their deeds are evil. And I, my son, love thee exceedingly, and my heart and my affection bless thee every hour of the day and watch of the night. And now, my son, hearken to my voice, and do the will of thy mother, and do not take thee a wife of the daughters of this land, but only of the house of my father, and of my father's kindred. Thou shalt take thee a wife of the house of my father, and the Most High God will bless thee, and thy children shall be a righteous generation, and a holy seed. And then spake Jacob to Rebekah his mother, and said unto her, Behold, mother, I am 9 weeks of years old, and I neither know, nor have I touched any woman, nor have I betrothed myself to any, nor even think of taking me a wife of the daughters of Canaan. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham our father, for he commanded me not to take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, but to take me a wife from the seed of my father's house, and from my kindred. I have heard before that daughters have been born to Laban, thy brother, and have set my heart on them to take a wife from amongst them. And for this reason I have guarded myself in my spirit against sinning, or being corrupted in all my ways, throughout all the days of my life. For with regard to lust and fornication, Abraham my father gave me my many commands. And despite all that he has commanded me, these 22 years my brother has striven with me, and spoken frequently to me, and said, My brother, take to wife a sister of my two wives. But I refused to do as he has done. I swear before thee, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take me a wife from the daughters of the seed of Canaan, and I will not act wickedly as my brother has done. Fear not, mother, be assured that I shall do thy will and walk in uprightness, and not corrupt my ways forever. And thereupon she lifted up her face to heaven, and extended the fingers of her hands, and opened her mouth, and blessed the Most High God, who had created the heaven and the earth. And she gave him thanks and praise, and she said, Blessed be the Lord God, and may his holy name be blessed forever and ever, who has given me Jacob as a pure son and a holy seed. For he is thine, and thine shall his seed be continually, and throughout all the generations forevermore. Bless him, O Lord, and place in my mouth the blessing of righteousness, that I may bless him. And at that hour, when the Spirit of righteousness descended into her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Jacob, and said, Blessed art thou, Lord of righteousness, and God of the ages, and may he bless thee beyond all the generations of men. May he give thee, my son, the path of righteousness, and reveal righteousness to thy seed. And may he make thy sons many during thy life, and may they arise according to the number of the months of the year. And may their sons become many and great beyond the stars of heaven, and their numbers be more than the sand of the sea. And may he give them this goodly land, as he said he would give it to Abraham, and to his seed after him always, and may they hold it as a possession forever. And may I see born unto thee, my son, blessed children during my life, and a blessed and a holy seed may all thy seed be. And as thou hast refreshed thy mother's spirit during her life, the womb of her that bare thee blesses thee thus. My affection and my breast bless thee, and my mouth and my tongue praise thee greatly. Increase and spread over the earth, and may thy seed be perfect in the joy of heaven and earth forever. And may thy seed rejoice, and on the great day of peace may it have peace. And may thy name and thy seed endure to all the ages, and may the Most High God be their God, and may the God of righteousness dwell with them, and by them may his sanctuary be built unto all the ages. Blessed be he that blesseth thee, and all flesh that curseth thee falsely, may it be cursed. And she kissed him and said to him, May the Lord of the world love thee as the heart of thy mother, and her affection rejoice in thee, and bless thee. And she ceased from blessing. Jubilees 26. Isaac scuds Esau for venison 1-4. Rebekah instructs Jacob to obtain the blessing 5-9. Jacob under the person of Esau obtains it 10-24. Esau brings in his venison, and by his importunity obtains a blessing 25-34. Threatens Jacob 35-26. And in the 7th year of this week Isaac called Esau his elder son, and said unto him, I am 21:14 a.m. old, my son, and behold my eyes are dim in seeing, and I know not the day of my death. And now take thy hunting weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field, and hunt and catch me venison, my son, and make me savour meat, such as my soul loveth, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may bless thee before I die. But Rebekah heard Isaac speaking to Esau, and Esau went forth early to the field to hunt and catch and bring home to his father. And Rebekah called Jacob her son, and said unto him, Behold, I heard Isaac thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me savor meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Lord before I die. And now, my son, obey my voice in that which I command thee. Go to thy flock, and fetch me 2 good kids of the goats, and thou wilt make them savor meat for thy father, such as he loves, and thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat and bless thee before the Lord before he die, and that thou mayest be blessed. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat, and which would please him. Only I fear, my mother, that he will recognize my voice, and wish to touch me. And thou knowest that I am smooth, and Esau my brother is hairy. And I shall appear before his eyes as an evildoer, and shall do a deed which he had not commanded me, and he will be wroth with me, and I shall bring upon myself a curse, and not a blessing. And Rebekah his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice. And Jacob obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother. I went and fetched 2 good and fat kids of the goats, and brought them to his mother, and his mother made them savory meat, such as he loved. And Rebekah took the goodly raiment of Esau her elder son, which was with her in the house, and she clothed Jacob her younger son with them, and she put the skins of the kids upon his hands and on the exposed parts of his neck. And she gave the meat and the bread which had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And Jacob went in to his father and said, I am thy son. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise and sit and eat of that which I have caught, father, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said to his son, How hast thou found so quickly, my son? And Jacob said, Because thy God caused me to find. And Isaac said unto him, Come near, that I may feel thee, my son, if thou art my son Esau or not. And Jacob went near to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because it was a dispensation from heaven to remove his power of perception. And Isaac discerned not, for his hands were hairy as his brother's Esau. So that he blessed him. And he said, Art thou my son Esau? And he said, I am thy son. And he said, Bring near to me, that I may eat of that which thou hast got, my son, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And Isaac his father said unto him, Come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment. And he blessed him and said, Behold, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord had blessed. And may the Lord give thee of the dew of heaven, and of the dew of the earth, and plenty of corn and oil. Let nations serve thee, and peoples bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. And may all the blessings wherewith the Lord hath blessed me, and blessed Abraham my father, be imparted to thee and to thy seed forever. Cursed be he that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing his son Jacob, and Jacob had gone forth from Isaac his father, he hid himself, and Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also made savor meat, and brought it to his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said unto him, I am thy firstborn, thy son Esau. I have done as thou hast commanded me. And Isaac was very greatly astonished, and said, Who is he that hath hunted and caught and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. And he shall be blessed, and all his seed forever. And it came to pass when Esau heard the words of his father Isaac, that he cried with an exceeding great and bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, father. And he said unto him, Thy brother came with guile, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, Now I know why his name is Jacob. Behold, he had supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, now he had taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me, father? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. With plenty of corn and wine and oil have I strengthened him. And what now shall I do for thee, my son? And Esau said to Isaac his father, Hast thou but one blessing, O father? Bless me, even me also, father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac answered and said unto him, Behold, far from the dew of the earth shall be thy dwelling, and far from the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword wilt thou live, and thou wilt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou becomest great, and dost shake his yoke from off thy neck, thou shalt sin a complete sin unto death, and thy seed shall be rooted out from under heaven. And Esau kept threatening Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And he said in his heart, May the days of mourning for my father now come, so that I may slay my brother Jacob. Jubilees 27. Rebekah, alarmed at Esau's threats, prevails on Isaac to send Jacob to Mesopotamia. 1-12. Isaac comforts Rebekah on the departure of Jacob. 13-18. Jacob's dream and vow at Bethel. 27. And the words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah in a dream. And Rebekah sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, Esau thy brother will take vengeance on thee, so as to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and rise and flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's anger turns away, and he remove his anger from thee, and forget all that thou hast done. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. And Jacob said, I am not afraid. If he wishes to kill me, I will kill him. But she said unto him, Let me not be bereft of both my sons in one day. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, thou knowest that my father has become old, and does not see because his eyes are dull. And if I leave him, it will be evil in his eyes, because I leave him and go away from you. And my father will be angry, and will curse me. I will not go. When he sends me, then only will I go. And Rebekah said to Jacob, I will go in and speak to him, and he will send thee away. And Rebekah went in and said to Isaac, I loathe my life because of the 2 daughters of Heth, whom Esau has taken him as wives. And if Jacob take a wife from among the daughters of the land such as these, for what purpose do I further live? For the daughters of Canaan are evil. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and admonished him, and said unto him, Do not take thee a wife of any of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and increase and multiply thee, that thou mayest become a company of nations, and give thee the blessings of my father Abraham to thee and to thy seed after thee, that thou mayest inherit the land of thy sojournings, and all the land which God gave to Abraham. Go, my son, in peace. And Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Mesopotamia to Laban the son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's mother. And it came to pass, after Jacob had arisen go to Mesopotamia, that the spirit of Rebekah was grieved after her son, and she wept. And Isaac said to Rebekah, my sister, weep not on account of Jacob my son, for he goeth in peace, and in peace will he return. The Most High God will preserve him from all evil, and will be with him, for he will not forsake him all his days. For I know that his ways will be prospered in all things wherever he goes, until he return in peace to us, and we see him in peace. Fear not on his account, my sister, for he is on the upright path, and he is a perfect man. And he is faithful, and will not perish. Weep not. And Esau comforted Rebekah on account of her son Jacob, and blessed him. And Jacob went from the well of the oath to go to Haran on the first year of the second week in the 44th Jubilee. And he came to Luz on the mountains, that is Bethel, on the new moon of the first month of this week, 21:15 a.m. And he came to the place at even and turned from the way to the west of the road at night, and he slept there, for the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and laid under the tree. And he was journeying alone, and he slept. And he dreamt that night, and behold, the ladder sat up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of the Lord ascended and descended on it. And behold, the Lord stood upon it. And he spake to Jacob and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou art sleeping, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt increase to the west, and to the east, to the north and the south, and in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the nations be blessed. And behold, I will be with thee, and will keep thee whithersoever thou goest, and I will bring thee again into this land in peace. For I will not leave thee until I do everything that I told thee of. And Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Truly this place is the house of the Lord, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, Dreadful is this place, which is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob arose early in the morning, and took the stone which he had put under his head, and set it up as a pillar for a sign. And he poured oil upon the top of it, and he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of the place was Luz at first. And Jacob vowed a vow unto the Lord, saying, If the Lord will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God, and this stone which I have set up as a pillar for a sign in this place shall be the Lord's house. And of all that thou givest me, I shall give the tenth to thee, my God. Jubilees 28. Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. 1 to 10. His children by Leah and Rachel and by their handmaids. 11 to 24. Jacob seeks to leave Laban. 25. But stays on a certain wage. 26 to 8. Jacob becomes rich. 29 to 30. 28. And he went on his journey and came to the land of the east to Laban, the brother of Rebekah, and he was with him and served him for Rachel his daughter 1 week. And in the first year of the third week, 21:22 a.m., he said unto him, Give me my wife, for whom I have served thee 7 years. And Laban said unto Jacob, I will give thee thy wife. And Laban made a feast, and took Leah his elder daughter, and gave her to Jacob as a wife, and gave her Zilpah his handmaid for a handmaid. And Jacob did not know, for he thought that she was Rachel. And he went unto her, and behold, she was Leah. And Jacob was angry with Laban, and said unto him, Why hast thou dealt thus with me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel, and not for Leah? Why hast thou wronged me? Take thy daughter, and I will go, for thou hast done evil to me. for Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. For Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very handsome. But Rachel had beautiful eyes and a beautiful and very handsome form. And Laban said to Jacob, "It is not so done in our country to give the younger before the elder, and it is not right to do this, for thus it is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder, but the elder one gives first, and after her the younger, and the man who does so, they set down guilt against him in heaven. And none is righteous that does this thing, for this deed is evil before the Lord. And command thou the children of Israel that they do not this thing. Let them neither take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked." And Laban said to Jacob, "Let the 7 days of the feast of this one pass by, and I shall give thee Rachel, that thou mayest serve me another 7 years, that thou mayest pasture my sheep as thou didst in the former week." And on the day when the 7 days of the feast of Leah had passed, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob that he might serve him another 7 years. And he gave to Rachel Bilhah, the sister of Leah, as a handmaid, the sister of Zilpah. And he served yet another 7 years for Rachel, for Leah had been given to him for nothing. And the Lord opened the womb of Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob a son. And he called his name Reuben. On the 14th day, on the 9th month, in the 1st year of the 3rd week, 21:22 a.m. But the womb of Rachel was closed, for the Lord saw that Leah was hated, and Rachel loved. And again Jacob went unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a second son, and he called his name Simeon. On the 21st of the 10th month, and in the 3rd year of this week, 21:24 a.m. And again Jacob went in unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare him a third son, and he called his name Levi. In the new moon of the 1st month, in the 6th year of this week, 21:27 a.m. And again Jacob went in unto her, and she conceived, and bare him a fourth son, and he called his name Judah. On the 15th of the 3rd month, in the 1st year of the 4th week, 21:29 a.m. And on account of all this Rachel envied Leah, for she did not bear. And she said to Jacob, "Give me children." And Jacob said, "Have I withheld from thee the fruits of thy womb? Have I forsaken thee?" And when Rachel saw that Leah had borne 4 sons to Jacob, Reuben and Simeon and Levi and Judah, she said unto him, "Go in unto Bilhah my handmaid, and she will conceive, and bear a son unto me." And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife. And he went in unto her, and she conceived, and bare him a son, and he called his name Dan. On the 9th of the 6th month, in the 6th year of the 3rd week, 21:27 a.m. And Jacob went in again unto Bilhah a second time, and she conceived, and bare Jacob another son. And Rachel called his name Naphtali. On the 5th of the 7th month, in the 2nd year of the 4th week, 21:30 a.m. And when Leah saw that she had become sterile, and did not bear, she envied Rachel, and she also gave her handmaid Zilpah to Jacob to wife, and she conceived, and bare a son, and Leah called his name Gad. On the 12th of the 8th month, in the 3rd year of the 4th week, 21:31 a.m. And he went in again to her, and she conceived, and bare him a second son, and Leah called his name Asher. On the 2nd of the 11th month, in the 5th year of the 4th week, 21:33 a.m. And Jacob went in unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare a son, and she called his name Issachar. On the 4th of the 5th month, in the 4th year of the 4th week, 21:32 a.m. And she gave him to a nurse. And Jacob went in again unto her, and she conceived and bare 2 children, a son and a daughter. And she called the name of the son Zebulun, and the name of the daughter Dinah, in the 7th of the 7th month, in the 6th year of the 4th week, 21:34 a.m. And the Lord was gracious to Rachel, and opened her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Joseph, on the new moon of the 4th month, in the 6th year, in this 4th week, 21:34 a.m. And in the days when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wives and sons, and let me go to my father Isaac, and let me make me an house, for I have completed the years in which I have served thee, for thy 2 daughters, and I will go to the house of my father. And Laban said to Jacob, Tarry with me for thy wages, and pasture my flock for me again, and take thy wages. And they agreed with one another that he should give him as his wages those of the lambs and kids, which were born black and spotted and white. These were to be his wages. And all the sheep brought forth spotted and speckled and black, variously marked, and they brought forth again lambs like themselves. And all that were spotted were Jacob's, and those which were not were Laban's. And Jacob's possessions multiplied exceedingly, and he possessed oxen and sheep and asses and camels and men servants and maid servants. And Laban and his sons envied Jacob, and Laban took back his sheep from him, and he observed him with evil intent. Jubilees 29. Jacob departs secretly, 1-4. Laban pursues after him, 5-6. Covenant of Jacob and Laban, 7-8. Abodes of the Amorites, anciently of the Rephaim, destroyed in the time of the writer, 9-11. Laban departs, 12. Jacob is reconciled to Esau, 13. Jacob sends supplies of food to his parents 4 times a year to Hebron, 14-17. 19-20. Esau marries again, 18. 29. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him a 3 days' journey. And Jacob saw that Laban was going to shear his sheep. And Jacob called Leah and Rachel, and spake kindly unto them that they should come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, even all that he had spoken unto him, that he should return to his father's house. And they said, To every place whither thou goest, we will go with thee. And Jacob blessed the God of Isaac his father, and the God of Abraham his father's father. And he arose and mounted his wives and his children, and took all his possessions, and crossed the river, and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intention from Laban, and told him not. And in the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face toward Gilead in the 1st month on the 21st thereof, 21:35 a.m. And Laban pursued after him, and overtook Jacob in the mountain of Gilead in the 3rd month on the 13th thereof. And the Lord did not suffer him to endure Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. And Laban spake to Jacob. And on the 15th of those days, Jacob made a feast for Laban, and for all who came with him. And Jacob sware to Laban that day, and Laban also to Jacob, that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to the other with evil purpose. And he made there a heap for a witness, and wherefore the name of that place is called the heap of witness after this heap. But before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of Rephaim, for it was the land of the Rephaim, and the Rephaim were born there, giants whose height was 10, 9, 8, down to 7 cubits. And their habitation was from the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon. And the seats of their kingdom were Karnaim, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, Mizor, and beyond. And the Lord destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were very malignant, and the Amorites dwelt in their stead, wicked and sinful. And there is no people today which has wrought to the full all their sins, and they have no longer length of life on the earth. And Jacob sent away Laban, and he departed into Mesopotamia, and the land of the east. And Jacob returned to the land of Gilead, and he passed over the Jabbok in the 9th month, on the 11th thereof. And on that day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and departed from him unto the land of Seir. But Jacob dwelt in tents. And in the first year of the 5th week in this Jubilee, 21:36 a.m., he crossed the Jordan, and dwelt beyond the Jordan. And he pastured his sheep from the sheep of the heap unto Bethshan, and unto Dothan, and unto the forest of Akrabim. And he sent to his father Isaac all his substance, clothing, and food, and meat, and drink, and milk, and butter, and cheese, and some dates of the valley. And to his mother Rebekah also 4 times a year between the times of the months, between plowing and reaping, and between autumn and the rain season, and between winter and spring, for the tower of Abraham. For Isaac had returned from the well of the Alt, and had gone up to the tower of his father Abraham, and he dwelt there apart from his son Esau. For in the days when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau took to himself a wife, Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, and he gathered together all the flocks of his father and his wives, and went up and dwelt on Mount Seir, and left Isaac his father at the well of the oath alone. And Isaac went up from the well of the oath, and dwelt in the tower of Abraham his father on the mountains of Hebron. And thither Jacob sent all that he did send to his father and his mother from time to time, all they needed, and they blessed Jacob with all their heart and with all their soul. Jubilees 30. Dinah ravished 1-3 slaughter of the Shechemites. 4-6 laws against intermarriage between Israel and the heathen. 7-17. Levi chosen for the priesthood on account of his daughter of the Shechemites. 18-23. Dinah recovered. 24. Jacob's reproof. 25-6. 30. And in the first year of the 6th week, 21:43 a.m., he went up to Salem to the east of Shechem in peace in the 4th month. And there they carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house of Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the land, and they lay with her and defiled her. And she was a little girl, a child of 12 years. And he besought his father and her brothers that she might be given to him to wife. And Jacob and his sons were wroth because of the men of Shechem, for they had defiled Dinah their sister. And they spake to them with evil intent, and dealt deceitfully with them, and beguiled them. And Simeon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem, and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem, and slew all the men whom they found in it, and left not a single one remaining in it. They slew all in torments, because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. And thus let it not again be done from henceforth, that a daughter of Israel be defiled, for judgment is ordained in heaven against them, that they should destroy with the sword all the men of the Shechemites, because they had wrought shame in Israel. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword, and execute judgment upon them, and that it might not thus again be done in Israel, that a virgin of Israel should be defiled. And if there is any man who wishes in Israel to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the seed of the Gentiles, he shall surely die. And they shall stone him with stones, for he hath wrought shame in Israel. And they shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father. And she shall be rooted out of Israel. And let not an adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy unto the Lord, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones. For thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Israel, he who defileth it shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stones. And to this law there is no limit of days, and no remission, nor any atonement, but the man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out in the midst of all Israel, because he has given of his seed to Moloch, and wrought impiously so as to defile it. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel, and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abominable before the Lord. For this reason I have written for thee in the words of the law all the deeds of the Shechemites, which they wrought against Dinah, and how the sons of Jacob spake, saying, We will not give our daughter to a man who is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. And it is a reproach to Israel, to those who live, and to those that take the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is unclean and abominable to Israel. And Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. For there will be plague upon plague, and curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come upon him, if he do this thing, or hide his eyes from those who commit uncleanness, or those who defile the sanctuary of the Lord, for those who profane his holy name. Then will the whole nation together be judged for all the uncleanness and profanation of this man. And there will be no respect of persons, and no consideration of persons, and no receiving at his hand of fruits and offerings and burnt offerings and fat, nor the fragrance of sweet savour, so as to accept it. And so fare every man or woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason I have commanded thee, saying, Testify this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechemites fared on their sons, how they were delivered into the hands of 2 sons of Jacob. And they slew them under tortures, and it was reckoned unto them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. And the seed of Levi was chosen for the priesthood, and to be Levites, that they might minister before the Lord as we continually, and that Levi and his sons may be blessed forever. For he was zealous to execute righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. And so they inscribe as a testimony in this favor on the heavenly tablets blessing and righteousness before the God of all. And we remember the righteousness which the man fulfilled during his life at all periods of the year, until 1,000 generations they will record it, and it will come to him and to his descendants after him. And he has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. All this account I have written for thee, and have commanded thee to say to the children of Israel, that they shall not commit sin, nor transgress the ordinances, nor break the covenant which has been ordained for them, but that they should fulfill it and be recorded as friends. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in every way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries, and they will be destroyed out of the book of life. And they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed, and with those who will be rooted out of the earth. And on the day when the sons of Jacob slew Shechem, a writing was recorded in their favor in heaven that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners, and it was written for blessing. And they brought Dinah their sister out of the house of Shechem, and they took captive everything that was in Shechem, their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and all their wealth and all their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob their father. And he reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And the dread of the Lord was upon all the cities which are round about Shechem, and they did not rise to pursue after the sons of Jacob, for terror had fallen upon them.